Ladies and gentlemen, trust is the foundation of every relationship, whether it's love, friendship, or family. It takes years to build, but only a moment to shatter. Some betrayals cut so deeply that even time cannot fully heal them. They leave scars, not just on the heart, but on the very way we see people and relationships. Today, I want to talk about the kind of betrayals that are not just painful, but unforgivable. The ones that don't just break relationships, they change people. The ones that teach us hard lessons about trust, loyalty, and the reality of human nature. Because in the end, betrayal is not just about what was done, it's about the message it sends. You were never as important as you thought. Let's dive into the 7 betrayals that can ruin relationships forever. Betrayal of trust. Trust is the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. It takes years to establish, but only a moment to destroy. When trust is betrayed, it does not just damage a relationship, it changes the way we see the person who broke it, and often the way we view relationships as a whole. Betrayal of trust can come in many forms: lying, breaking promises, hiding the truth, or acting in ways that contradict one's words. No matter how it happens, the impact is always profound. The deepest pain of betrayal is not just the act itself, but the realization that the person we once trusted was capable of deceiving us. When we trust someone, we lower our defenses, allowing them into our most vulnerable spaces. We believe in their words, their promises, and their intentions. We share our fears, dreams, and secrets, expecting them to be kept safe. But when that trust is broken, it shatters more than just the relationship. It fractures the very foundation of security we had built with that person. Lies are a common form of betrayal, and they often start small. A harmless deception, a minor omission, or a well-intended lie to protect the other person. But small lies create cracks in the relationship, and over time, those cracks grow wider. Once a person discovers they have been deceived, they begin to question everything. Was anything ever real? How many other lies have been told? Can the relationship ever be the same again? These questions haunt the mind and make it difficult to trust again. Broken promises are another form of betrayal that damages trust. When someone repeatedly fails to keep their word, it sends a clear message. Your feelings and expectations do not matter as much as my convenience. Trust is built on consistency, on the assurance that someone will do what they say. When that consistency is missing, uncertainty takes its place. And when uncertainty grows, doubt follows, slowly corroding the bond between two people. Hiding the truth can also be a silent betrayal. Sometimes it's not about what was said, but about what was deliberately left unsaid. Concealing important information, avoiding difficult conversations, or selectively sharing details to shape a false reality can be just as damaging as outright lying. The person who is deceived may eventually uncover the truth, but by then the damage is already done. They may wonder why they weren't trusted with the truth in the first place and feel manipulated or disrespected. One of the most devastating betrayals of trust comes in the form of infidelity. When someone steps outside the boundaries of a committed relationship, they not only break their partner's heart, but also destroy the sense of security that once existed. The pain of infidelity is not just about the physical act. It is about the broken promises, the emotional dishonesty, and the realization that what was supposed to be a sacred bond has been violated. Many relationships never recover from such a betrayal, and even those that do are often forever changed. Rebuilding trust after it has been broken is an uphill battle. Apologies alone are not enough. It requires consistent effort, complete transparency, and a genuine willingness to change. But even then, trust may never return to its original state. It becomes fragile, easily shaken by doubt and fear. Some people choose to forgive, while others walk away, knowing that living with broken trust is more painful than leaving the relationship behind. At its core, betrayal of trust is not just about what was done, it is about what was lost. It changes the way we see the person who hurt us and forces us to question our own judgment. It teaches us painful lessons about who we can and cannot rely on. And sometimes it leaves us with no choice but to let go of a relationship that once meant everything. Emotional neglect, the silent betrayal. Not all betrayals are loud. Some don't come in the form of lies, broken promises, or dramatic acts of disloyalty. Instead, they creep in quietly, unnoticed at first, until one day the relationship feels empty. This is the betrayal of emotional neglect. When someone we trust to care about us no longer sees, hears, or values our emotions. Emotional neglect is dangerous because it isn't always obvious. It doesn't leave visible scars, but its wounds run deep. It happens when a partner, friend, or family member consistently ignores or dismisses our feelings, when our emotions are treated as an inconvenience, when we feel unseen, unheard, and unimportant. Over time, this neglect creates distance, resentment, and a sense of loneliness. Even in relationships that still technically exist. Imagine sharing your struggles, fears, and dreams with someone, only to be met with indifference. You tell them about your worries, but they barely listen. You express your excitement about something important, and they shrug it off. You ask for support, but they are emotionally unavailable. It's not always that they don't care, but their actions, or lack of actions, send the message that your emotions do not matter as much as you thought. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of emotional neglect is that it often happens in relationships that were once full of warmth and connection. A couple who used to talk for hours now only communicates about responsibilities. Friends who once supported each other through everything now barely check in. Family members who once shared deep conversations now only exchange surface-level pleasantries. The bond remains in name, but the emotional connection is gone. This kind of betrayal can be even more painful than outright conflict. When someone argues with you, at least it shows that they are engaged, that they care enough to have strong feelings. But when someone stops responding, stops caring, or stops making an effort, it feels like they are slowly disappearing from your life. And in many ways, that is exactly what is happening. Emotional neglect also damages self-worth. When someone consistently ignores our feelings, we start to wonder if our emotions matter at all. We may begin to silence ourselves, believing that expressing our needs is pointless. We might even start doubting our own experiences, asking ourselves, am I overreacting? Am I expecting too much? Over time, this self-doubt can lead to emotional withdrawal, making it even harder to rebuild the connection. Relationships thrive on emotional presence, on listening, understanding, and showing up for each other. But when one person continuously neglects the other's emotions, the relationship slowly deteriorates. It may still exist on the surface, but deep down, it is already broken. How emotional neglect happens. Disinterest in feelings. Responding with indifference when the other person shares their thoughts or emotions. Failure to check in, not asking about the other person's well-being, struggles, or successes. Lack of emotional support. Dismissing pain, worries, or fears instead of offering reassurance. Avoidance of deep conversations. Keeping interactions surface level. Avoiding meaningful discussions. Neglecting appreciation. Failing to acknowledge efforts, love, or sacrifices made in the relationship. Can emotional neglect be fixed? Yes, but only if both people recognize the problem and are willing to make changes. Rebuilding emotional connection requires effort, vulnerability, and a commitment to truly seeing and hearing each other. It means actively listening, making time for meaningful conversations, and showing appreciation for the other person's emotions. It means creating a space where both people feel safe to express their true feelings, without fear of being ignored or dismissed. Betrayal is not always about actions, it is also about absence. Emotional neglect is a silent form of betrayal that leaves people feeling alone, even when they are in a relationship. It teaches them that their emotions do not matter, that their voice is not heard, and that the person they once trusted is no longer truly present. And in many cases, this kind of betrayal does more damage than any harsh words ever could. Disloyalty in adversity, abandonment in hard times. True loyalty is not measured in moments of comfort, but in times of struggle. It's easy to stand beside someone when life is good, when they are thriving, successful, and happy. But what happens when they fall? When they face failure, hardship, or loss? This is where true character is revealed. And one of the most painful betrayals is abandonment in adversity, when someone you trusted walks away when you need them most. Life is unpredictable. We all go through difficult seasons. Losing a job, facing financial struggles, dealing with health issues, or experiencing deep emotional pain. In these moments, we don't just need people to celebrate with us in success. We need them to stand by us in failure. When someone disappears during our hardest times, it sends a painful message. You were only valued when things were easy. The pain of being left behind. Imagine going through one of the darkest moments of your life, expecting support from someone you trusted, only to find yourself alone. A friend who once laughed with you in good times now avoids your calls. A partner who once promised to stand by you suddenly seems distant. A family member who once offered unconditional support now makes excuses. This kind of betrayal cuts deep because it comes when you are already vulnerable. It turns hardship into heartbreak, adding emotional pain on top of an already difficult situation. Instead of finding comfort, you find loneliness. Instead of reassurance, you feel rejection. Instead of healing, you experience another layer of hurt. Some people abandon others in hard times not out of malice, but out of discomfort. They don't know how to handle deep emotions, so they distance themselves. They don't want to deal with someone else's pain, so they withdraw. But no matter the reason, the result is the same. The person who is left behind feels discarded, unimportant, and alone. Loyalty is proven in struggles. We often assume that betrayal only happens through actions, like lying, cheating, or deceit. But sometimes betrayal is about absence, when someone who should be there simply isn't. When they avoid, ignore, or walk away from a relationship the moment it requires effort. True loyalty is showing up, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or difficult. It's standing beside someone in their struggles, not just their success. It's listening when they need to talk, offering a helping hand when they are struggling, and reminding them that they are not alone. Think about the people in your life. Have you been abandoned in your darkest moments? Or have you been the one who walked away from someone who needed you? Loyalty is a two-way street, and sometimes we must ask ourselves if we are giving the same level of support that we expect from others. How to recognize disloyalty in hard times. They avoid you when you are struggling, suddenly too busy, distant, or unresponsive. They minimize your pain, saying things like, "It's not that bad," or "You'll be fine," instead of offering real support. They make excuses instead of helping. "I don't know how to help," or "I just don't like being around negative energy." They celebrate with you in good times but disappear in bad times. They are present for fun and success, but absent for struggle and loss. They put their comfort above your well-being. Instead of showing empathy, they distance themselves because your problems make them uncomfortable. Can broken loyalty be repaired? Maybe. Some people don't realize the damage they've done until it's too late. If someone has abandoned you in hard times, they may try to come back when things get better. Whether you allow them back into your life depends on whether they truly understand the pain they caused and whether they are willing to prove their loyalty in the future. However, some betrayals change relationships forever. Sometimes, walking away from those who abandoned you is the best choice, because if they weren't there when you were at your lowest, they don't deserve to stand beside you at your highest. Loyalty is not tested when life is easy. It is tested when life is hard. Those who stand by you in your darkest moments are the ones who truly care, and those who leave, they were never really there to begin with. Betrayal is painful, but it teaches us something valuable. Who is truly in our corner, and who was only there for convenience. Manipulation and control, the betrayal of freedom. Betrayal doesn't always come in the form of lies, infidelity, or abandonment. Sometimes it hides behind the illusion of love and care. One of the most destructive forms of betrayal is manipulation and control. When someone you trust uses emotions, guilt, or fear to dominate your thoughts and decisions. A healthy relationship, whether romantic, familial, or friendship-based, is built on mutual respect and choice. But manipulation strips away that freedom. It creates an invisible cage where one person dictates the terms of the relationship while the other is left feeling powerless. The worst part? Many people don't even realize they're being manipulated until it's too late. The subtle nature of manipulation. Manipulation doesn't always look like force or aggression. It can be soft, subtle, and disguised as concern. It often starts with small things, convincing you to change your mind, pressuring you into decisions, or making you feel guilty for wanting something different. Over time, these behaviors escalate until you find yourself questioning your own judgment, suppressing your feelings, and living according to someone else's desires. For example, a friend who constantly makes you feel guilty for spending time with others, saying things like, "I guess I'm just not important to you anymore." A partner who demands control over your choices, making you feel like you need their approval for everything. A family member who uses past sacrifices to guilt-trip you into doing what they want. A boss or colleague who manipulates you into working beyond your limits by making you feel like you're never doing enough. This kind of behavior is a betrayal because it breaks the trust in autonomy, the fundamental right to make your own choices. It replaces love and respect with power and control, turning relationships into a battlefield where one person always has the upper hand. The emotional toll of manipulation. The effects of manipulation run deep. Over time, the person being controlled may develop self-doubt, constantly questioning their own thoughts and feelings, fear of disappointing others, feeling trapped in a cycle of pleasing the manipulator, loss of identity, forgetting who they are outside of the controlled environment, anxiety and emotional exhaustion, feeling drained from constantly trying to keep the peace. The longer this cycle continues, the harder it becomes to break free. The manipulated person may begin to justify the behavior, thinking, maybe I am being too sensitive, or they only do this because they care. But true care does not control, it supports. True love does not manipulate, it empowers. Recognizing the signs of manipulation. It's not always easy to identify manipulation, especially when it comes from someone close. However, here are some red flags. They use guilt as a weapon, making you feel bad for saying no or setting boundaries. They twist reality, making you question your own memory or perception. They demand control over your choices, convincing you that they know what's best for you. They condition their love or approval, making you feel like you have to earn their care. They use silence or withdrawal to punish you, refusing to talk to you until you give in to their demands. Breaking free from manipulation. If you recognize manipulation in your relationships, know this: you have the right to take back control. Set clear boundaries. Do not allow guilt or pressure to dictate your decisions. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Surround yourself with supportive people. Seek relationships that uplift and respect you. Speak up. Manipulators thrive on silence. Calling out their behavior can shift the power dynamic. Walk away if necessary. Some relationships cannot be fixed, and leaving is the healthiest choice. Love should never feel like control. Respect should never come with conditions. A relationship that manipulates, pressures, or silences you is not a relationship. It's a prison in disguise. True relationships are about choice, trust, and mutual respect. If someone constantly makes you feel small, guilty, or controlled, they are betraying not just your trust, but your very sense of self, and that is a betrayal no one should tolerate. Public humiliation, the betrayal of dignity. Betrayal is not always private. Sometimes the deepest wounds come from being exposed, ridiculed, or disrespected in front of others. Public humiliation, whether in relationships, friendships, families, or workplaces, is a form of betrayal that attacks a person's dignity. It damages self-esteem, shatters confidence, and can leave scars that last a lifetime. Every human being deserves respect, especially from those closest to them. But when someone chooses to embarrass, mock, or shame another person publicly, they send a painful message. Your feelings don't matter. Your dignity is disposable. I have power over you. The different faces of public humiliation. Humiliation can take many forms. Some are loud and obvious, while others are subtle but equally damaging. Criticizing in front of others. A partner who points out your flaws in front of friends. A boss who insults you in a meeting, or a parent who belittles you in public. Mockery and sarcasm. Making cruel jokes at your expense, laughing at your mistakes, or disguising insults as just teasing. Exposing private matters. Sharing your secrets, personal struggles, or past failures with others without your consent. Social media shaming. Posting hurtful comments, spreading private information, or ridiculing someone online. Ignoring or dismissing in public. Acting as if your thoughts, feelings, or contributions don't matter when others are present. These acts don't just cause temporary embarrassment. They break trust, create emotional wounds, and make the person on the receiving end feel powerless. Why public humiliation hurts so much? Humiliation is more than just a moment of embarrassment. It's an attack on identity and self-worth. It places someone in a vulnerable position where they feel small, powerless, and ashamed. Unlike a private argument or disagreement, public shaming multiplies the pain because it is witnessed by others. Loss of trust. When someone we love humiliates us, it shakes the foundation of the relationship. If they can disrespect us in public, what will they do in private? Emotional isolation. A person who is humiliated may begin to withdraw, fearing future embarrassment. Anxiety and self-doubt. Constant public criticism makes people question their own value and abilities. Long-term emotional scars. Some forms of humiliation stay with people for years, affecting their confidence and relationships. Humiliation is a power play. It's often used to control, intimidate, or assert dominance over someone else. Whether it's a partner who belittles their spouse in front of others, a boss who publicly shames an employee, or a friend who constantly makes hurtful jokes, the message is the same. I have control over how others see you. How to respond to public humiliation. If someone close to you repeatedly humiliates you in public, it's a red flag that they do not respect you. Here's how to handle it. Address it immediately if possible. If someone makes an inappropriate comment, calmly but firmly say, "That was unnecessary." A simple response can set a boundary without escalating the situation. Talk in private. If it's a recurring issue, address it one-on-one. Say something like, "I felt hurt when you said that in front of others. Please don't do it again." Distance yourself if necessary. If the person continues to disrespect you, consider whether this is a relationship worth keeping. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not power games. Build self-confidence. Remember that someone else's attempt to embarrass you says more about their character than yours. Betrayal is not just about lies or abandonment. Sometimes it's about how someone treats you in front of others. If someone repeatedly humiliates you, they are not just disrespecting you. They are trying to control how others perceive you. True love, friendship, and respect never come at the cost of dignity. The people who truly value you will never use your weaknesses, mistakes, or past as a weapon against you, especially in front of others. If someone betrays you by stripping away your dignity in public, it may be time to walk away and protect your self-worth.